Hi, I'm Lisa Hayden with Channel 6 Central Kentucky TV, community focus on Washington County. And we are very happy to have with us today Angela Nance Crenshaw. But that's not your maiden name. Your maiden name would have been
Yoakum.
Yoakum, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. And actually, you're from Marion County.
Yes.
However, as I just said to you, we consider you a part of Washington County.
I love it. I love it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that is a true statement. I've been here most of probably from my 20s to mid-40s.
Yeah.
Oops.
So
That was just a couple years ago.
That's exactly right. You are a very young woman. So, and of course, you have a beautiful daughter who lives here in Washington County.
Yes.
And Julita, who was born here and
Yes.
raised here.
Yes.
And still resides here and married a Washington County fella.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And her father, your ex-husband, was David Nance.
That's correct.
Whom everyone knows David in Springfield in Washington County because he is the local plumber
Yeah. Good guy.
and does a tremendous job.
Good guy.
So I don't know what I'd do without him. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
He's been around our house for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So, but Angela, I wanted to have you on here today, simply because, as I was telling Steve McRae, whom we interviewed today, who was a co-worker of yours in the Stephen Foster story, that we appreciate the fact that we have so many talented people in Washington County and so many people who have given back to their community. And those are the kind of people we like to
I love that.
focus. That's why it's called community focus.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great, Lisa. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
And
great.
so you, of course, now, I know that you have, of course, you live in Marion County and are married to Mayor Crenshaw,
That's correct.
whom you've known since you were a little girl.
No, probably in my 20s when I was working at St. Catherine's.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you all went to school. Of course, he is from
He's
Washington County.
He's a wee bit older than me.
Well, right. But now he is from Washington County, or did he grow up in?
He grew up in Marion County.
He grew up in Marion County.
And they lived in Washington County. I think his dad did.
His dad
Yes.
worked here.
Yes.
For the
'Cause
bank.
He was president of one of the local banks. That's
Right.
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
And then but he went to school in Marion County.
Yes,
And his
and-
father worked over here.
Correct.
Okay.
And then they went to what they call Ohio County. So he graduated from Ohio County.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so he has a little whirlwind of travel and where he's lived a bit.
Okay. Because I was thinking that you all knew each other from childhood or something.
No,
Okay.
actually, I met him. They had a job opening in his where he works at the USDA, and I was working at St. Catherine's at the time, and that's
Okay.
how I actually met him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and of course, he's still with USDA, and but you're with Lincoln Trail
That's
Area
correct.
Development
That's
District.
correct. I celebrated my 21st anniversary on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is that position with them?
I manage the finances for the Workforce Investment Act,
Yeah.
which is for Washington and Marion and Nelson counties included in our district, for folks who have been unemployed or underemployed or work experience, OJTs, and those types of training for folks. And I manage the finances for that program.
So probably a lot of those are federal dollars.
Correct. That
All
one
are
is
and then some state
some
dollars.
state dollars. That's correct.
And so you manage the finances for that program. Well, speaking of that program, because we just had Hal Good on today too, and we were talking about economic development, workforce development
Yes.
with community action, and he's now the executive director of that the Central Kentucky Community Action, which covers the same area that you do.
Correct. Correct.
So you probably work with Community Action on
I actually
funding some of those programs?
I actually don't, but the connection with the Area Development District, I'm sure there's a bridge and a link with the different programs that we have there that reaches out with his programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, those are all very necessary programs,
Absolutely.
and I'm glad to see that we're, focusing on those kinds of, work skills and trainings that people need to get in the workforce.
So I think you probably talked with Terry Thomas before, and
Yes.
that's where we link in the Career Center. We're all connected into that system there.
Okay. So you do work with a lot with Terry then?
Yes.
Of course, she covers Washington County.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but your office is in Elizabethtown.
That's correct. That's
Terry,
correct.
I think, is still in Lebanon.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Because I think the court there gave her an office, and
Correct.
so we could keep her in this area.
Yes, that's correct.
And
she's working for the Lebanon City County government, overseeing that system over there.
Okay.
But we're all connected. The delivery system is all the
Yeah. So you've been commuting to Elizabethtown then
for 21 years.
21 years. That's
It's a long time.
a little bit of a ride too,
Yes.
a drive.
Yes. So I worked with St. Catherine's for about 8 years prior to going to Lincoln Trail. I worked under Governor Collins when she was president there.
Yeah.
And then I worked about a year with President Houston.
Okay.
So
Now, what were you doing there then?
I worked in admissions.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I worked in admissions with Frank Salee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh.
With Frank Salee.
Poor Frank. We sure miss him.
Yeah. Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
That's exactly. I had forgotten about that.
Yes, it's been a
Angela.
long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So then, of course, now that is your professional career. Oh, and in addition to that, you still, I guess, serve on the board of Springview Hospital?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct. In addition to that, I also serve on the African American Heritage Commission. That's a state commission. I've been appointed to that for several different, this is probably going to be my third term for that.
Oh.
And so
okay.
a lot of the work that we do is ensuring that Kentucky's African American heritage is known. So part of my connection with being in this region has been working with Federal Hill, Mile Kentucky Home State Park.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys over there, Matthew Bailey and Richard Blanton, you might have seen a piece a couple of months ago on the new walkway panels that highlights enslaved folks on the grounds. So I was a part of that initiative.
No, I didn't
with
see
them.
that.
Yeah.
Over at Federal Hill
yes,
then, over at
yes.
Mount Kentucky Home.
Yes.
So they have these.
There's some panels that talk about the different numbers of folks who were enslaved at Federal Hill.
Oh,
And
okay.
different types of their deeds. And it's just an interesting little bit of information.
Is it on the walkway
It
around
sure
the?
is. As you first come out of the visitor center, you'll
Uh-huh.
see them displayed, and it's kind of the
Okay.
first thing you see as you leave the visitor center.
So this is the African American
Heritage
Commission
Correct.
in Frankfurt.
Correct.
And so you are probably appointed
Correct.
a term under each governor.
Correct.
So you started under Governor Bashir.
Correct.
And served 2 terms, and now you've
I'm
been
on my-
reappointed under Governor Bevan.
I'm still on my same term limits. My limits hasn't lapsed yet under this
Okay, it's not a
governor.
4-year.
It is a 4-year.
Oh, it is a 4-year.
So it hasn't lapsed under this governor yet.
Oh, okay, okay. So, well, that's great.
Yeah,
So now
I'm
what?
really excited about that because so many times when people have visited the park, that part of the history has not been disclosed or shared. And those guys are so on board and excited about including that. So when you come over to the house, when you get the tour, you're going to hear more inclusive about everybody that was a part of the Rowan family at that time, even the enslaved.
Of course, they were slaveholders, and we know that Stephen Foster wrote the song which
or state
the
song?
one about the and he alludes to the slavery and things of that nature. And of course, he was against that. Stephen Foster was, and I'm trying to think what song it is, but anyway, I'll have to think on that.
Okay.
And so you have still performed over there.
Yes, this was my 10th season.
Wow.
My 10th consecutive season.
Yeah.
So excited to be able to have reached that milestone. And fortunately, with Johnny Warren being a Washington County native as well.
Exactly.
And partnering with Johnny in discussing different types of way to move the show to highlight the enslaved folks in the part of the script, and things that are kind of historical in the context of what happened, during that period. This year, at our 10th year, our 60th, my 10th year, 60th anniversary, instead of selling the Tom or the African American slave, we sold my character this year, which was female, which was a first. I was super
and your
excited
character
about that.
is
Mary. This for the last couple of years, I played the role of Mary.
Yeah.
Yes, and so
who was a
enslaved person
with the with Stephen Foster's
with the Rowan
with
family.
the Rowan.
Yes.
Well, no, I mean in the show though.
That's correct. In the show, it depicts the cabin scene is down. Stephen actually comes from Pittsburgh. He comes to Kentucky. He's visiting the Rowans, and while he's there, he goes and visit Uncle Nebo and Aunt Charity.
Right.
And so this is in the scene is taking place at Federal Hill.
Okay. Now I remember.
Putting you back into context.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now I got it. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
So at that point, when he's there, he goes down to visit the family. And in years past, the overseer and or Rowan would come down, and there had been an issue with Tom, who was the enslaved young male, and then they end up taking and selling him off.
Yes.
So this year, by the grace of God and Johnny's openness, we sold my character.
Okay.
And it was important because female were sold and females were lynched. And sometimes we don't connect that. A lot of times when we see or when we think about it, we think about, we don't really, personally, doing the show, you just get so used to seeing the male that's being sold. So I think it was important that we highlight the other aspects because that opens a whole nother door.
Oh, yeah.
So I was very grateful to Johnny for opening.
Mother being separated from her children.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah.
And those things happen.
Oh,
Those things
yeah.
happen. And so I'm so grateful that we're able to highlight some of those historical contexts within the show.
And I know Johnny is, certainly, open to that and making sure that, we include these historical events.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And much like Matthew and Richard, it has folks like Johnny Warren as well that's open enough to make sure those emphasis is being included in the show.
Exactly.
So it's important, and very grateful that these young men have an insight and know the importance of all of our history.
So that is probably
a
part of, is that anything like they're trying to do on the African American Heritage Commission? Is that commission attempting to do some work like that through drama and things throughout the state? Is that?
Well, my chair that I occupy is one that does with art.
Okay.
So that's a little bit more of my emphasis. A lot of it's people at large or school education, but the chair that I hold is for the art community. So it depends on the various types of projects or aspects that are available to us to be able to entertain. I'm grateful that I'm one of the ones to be able to do that, so I can use not only my talent and gifts for art, but also open the door to include African American aspects in different places. One thing we have talked about and hope to see is a plantation trail someday here in Kentucky. I know the word plantation isn't always one that people want to use. They want to use connect plantations to the word farm, but technically they were plantations. And so I hope, and the commission would love to see someday we do a plantation trail in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And it highlight aspects of all of the lives of people live there. Yeah.
I saw when I was in, I guess in Savannah, in the Charleston area, you know, back not too long ago, and there was emphasis on that, and you know, the slave quarters and things of that nature on the plantations. And you know, and there were still some original
structures still standing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Still, so, and then, you know, I think it makes it more real for you when you actually are able to see it firsthand, you know. So, you know, it's kind of like going to a concentration camp. You know, when you actually see it firsthand, it certainly gives it a whole different meaning, and it makes it very real.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one of the things I love about being able to emphasize that in the show, because when you watch it, you get invested in it, and then especially if you are familiar with any of the performers, it really draws you in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it was great to be able to do that. It was hard, but it was great to be able to do that.
Well, I'm really glad that, you know, you were able to do that, and of course, you know, some of that was depicted in your role as Lady Day recently, which was, as Steve McGray said, just an outstanding performance that could be performed anywhere in the country, and really exceptional, was extraordinary, wonderful.
Thank you, Lisa. I had some awesome musicians to help me get there.
Yeah.
What a privilege.
Yeah.
That we could have a 2-time Grammy Award winning musician here, as well as Gary Vitito.
Yeah.
And our young man, Ron, our drummer. They were fabulous. They
Oh,
were
yes.
great to work with, and all those pieces helped to get that show. Not to mention the staff, the other cast members that helped create that, the ambiance, building the set, and the lighting, all of that together helped create. Anybody that came to that show made you feel like you were back in the 50s again.
And you felt like you were right there at that nightclub.
Yeah,
you know?
that gives me chills just thinking
I
about
know.
it. Yeah,
I mean, really, it was awesome.
It was an honor. It was an honor.
Well, and of course, you know, Lady Day confronted racism
Absolutely.
in her career, and you discussed that in your performance.
Absolutely, in great detail. That made me really appreciate having that gift to be able to do what I do, recognizing that people like Billie Holiday really paved the road for a lot of us African Americans to be able to perform today, whether it's in our local town or on a bigger stage. But you know, she did. And then the play depicts some of the very hardships she had, not being able to go through the front door, not being able to eat in the restaurants with other people.
Not being able to go to the bathroom.
Not being able to go to the bathroom. Who would have thought that? Not being able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, and we all know that exists. I mean, I'm old enough to know that existed, you know. I think and that's why it's so important to bring those things, I think, to life through those kinds of situations and others, because our young generation.
That's right. That's right.
They don't have a clue.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I remember when I worked at St. Catherine's, we had an African American history club. And I can remember one young man coming to me. They were mostly the African American males were athletes, and one of them would say, said, Miss Nance at the time, we like this club, but we don't understand why we need to highlight some of the issues. And I'm like, you have to realize that people died so that you can even go to school here. It wasn't always like this, and it's important that we remember.
Yeah.
You know, and in so remembering, you have to do something to continue to make sure that door's open for other people coming behind you.
Exactly.
You can't just take that for granted
You can't take
and live
it
in
for
your
granted.
own world. So you've got to make sure that you're opening the doors for other people to have the same opportunities that you have.
I think right now, and that is very true right now, and this in the way things are going in our country right now. I think that, you know, not just for African Americans, but for all minorities and for a lot of other people of different faiths and different religions and different styles of life and whatever.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, a lot of people are threatened right now with their way of life, and so it's more important now than ever.
And that means, Lisa, everybody. It's not a single group of people or a single class or individual. It's everybody together.
Yeah.
Because the whole freedom of African Americans didn't rest solely on African Americans freeing themselves. It was white people. It was think about the Freedom Riders.
Exactly.
They were young, wealthy male and female from up north who came to the South. They wanted to be a part and make sure that those changes were happening. And that's when it changed, when those young people started getting killed in the middle of that. And then the world's eyes was open to what was happening to black people. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's important that it's, as I think Abraham Lincoln says, to ensure your own freedom, you have to ensure the freedom of others. Yeah. It's important that we make sure.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln, a Kentuckian.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And so yes, I think that's very important, and I'm glad that you are continuing to help with those issues, Angela. And you know, as you said, we need all people to be involved in that.
Everybody, because for 1 minute you think that you're not going to be. You're going to be protected, you're not. I will tell you, for instance, when I first started doing human rights type of activities, I was on the Human Rights Commission in Lebanon. And I remember an older white male who was working in one of the local industry and got, in his profession, discriminated against. And so sometimes we think as a white male or a white person that, oh, that could never happen to us, but aging is a protected class. So you may not be discriminated against because you're female or of color, but you might because of your age.
Yeah.
So if you're not protecting everybody's rights, your rights might get violated at some point in your life.
Yeah.
So it's important that...
Well, we all know, too, that being a woman, there certainly has been discrimination against women. You know, you think about how long we've had the right to vote, how long we've had the right to own our own property.
That's right.
I mean, when I talk about Abraham Lincoln, you know, when Abraham's grandfather, Captain Abraham Lincoln, died, his wife did not inherit. It was the oldest male in the family. Son. It was a son that inherited, and not the daughters, and not the wife. And so, what does that tell you about discrimination?
Absolutely.
And and so, you know, I think as women, we might we relate to that as well, because certainly in my generation. There has been a lot of improvement, and you know, I'm so happy and delighted that you know, when Steve was on here talking about his granddaughter, said she was going to run for president. Wow. Well, you know, 20 years ago, a woman would never have thought of such a thing.
That's true.
And so I'm just really glad to see all these women getting into politics, and you know, of course, I myself, you know. Enjoy politics and being serving on the city council, and so you know, it's good. We all need to be involved.
And we have a lot to contribute.
Exactly.
And so I'm grateful that we are able to make a difference in our communities.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you've I know been involved in a lot of things, and so that's one of the things that you are involved in now, and then some of the things in the past with the, and you're still on the board. And so tell me what else you're doing, because I know you're always into.
Oh, and I've just been appointed to the theater board here.
Oh, I was so glad of
Yes,
that.
I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Really excited about it.
Well, and you contributed so much to our theater, community theater, and you also, of course, sing in Mid-Kentucky.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so
I
you've
do.
done many,
I do.
you've done solos with
Yes.
performances with that?
Yes, yes. I don't remember how many years I've been with them. It's been, they started, it was a Lebanon Community Choir some years ago, and then when Teresa only had the Springfield one, so some of us, lots of us came over and joined and been with the Mid-Kentucky since. So
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity to get our area together and have one beautiful
Oh
sound.
gosh, we just have beautiful performances, don't we?
Yes.
And you know, Steve, you know, well, soon it'll be Christmas time, and we'll be having
That's right.
the beautiful
Christmas music.
what's it called? The
beautiful sounds of
the
Christmas.
beautiful sounds of Christmas.
Yes.
And I hope you're going to be able to perform in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I look forward to that every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and was there anything else you'd like to tell us about before?
And I am Dominican. I am a Dominican associate, so
Well,
I've
congratulations.
been a Dominican associate for about 25 or longer
Oh,
years. Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah, I've been like
Because right now I know they're working on getting some.
come and see,
people-
so people to come and have an opportunity to experience what it's like to be an associate and the connection with the sisters there. So,
Yeah. So now tell me, I didn't know you'd done that long.
Yeah, when I was at St. Catherine's, so I've been at Lincoln Tour for 21 years, so at least 25 years.
And the Dominican associate, you like? Tell me what that is.
So like it's like I'm not gonna say we're friends of the sisters because we're more than that. We're part of the Dominican family. We pray together, we study together, and we just make sure that there's a connection with us and our ministries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an opportunity for lay people who would like, lay women and men who would like to be a part of the Dominican tradition, and it's an opportunity through the associate program to do so.
Yeah. And I know that, you know, I have considered that myself, but I swear, you know, you just think there's only so many hours in a day. I don't know how much more I can do.
But it's just like an icing to your faith. I just feel like it's like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice.
Well,
to
we
be
know what good
connected.
works
Absolutely.
the Dominican sisters do,
Absolutely.
and how they certainly have been contributed to our. I'll have to have them on next to talk about that. And I did because they were having that come and see program. I think that's this weekend, and so we're. I wasn't sure what. I wasn't able to talk with them about it, but before now, so we'll have to get one of the sisters here and talk about that.
And so I will bridge them back into the hospital because our hospital in Lebanon was founded by the Dominican sisters.
Right.
So it's an honor to be able to serve on that board.
Yes.
As a citizen and as a Dominican as well.
Yeah.
So it's a privilege.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a privilege.
Oh yeah. I don't guess there's any of the sisters working over there now.
No.
But for a long time, you know, they certainly
absolutely
did most of the work.
And
over
that's
there.
how my daughter got her name, was from Sister Julita. So most of the Julitas in our area was named from Sister Julita, who was a supervisor or a director over there. So
Mother was
Mary Julita. Sister Mary Julita.
Okay. Wasn't Mother Mary Julia? No, I'm thinking of that another little sister. So Julita.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
Well, I just want to thank you for everything that you do, Angela.
Thank you,
and that is certainly great information about the African American Commission, Heritage Commission, because I wasn't familiar with that, and what you're doing over it. Maybe we can incorporate some of that over here in Washington County.
Well,
somehow.
I tell you, we're very, very proud of the African American Heritage Festival that Washington County Springfield does a phenomenal job on. It's one of your largest events that you have here.
Yeah.
And we're very proud as a Commonwealth to see that celebrated across the community.
Mm-hmm.
Across the community.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a beautiful
Just
gift.
celebrated 10 years.
Wow.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much
Oh,
for
you're
being here
welcome.
today.
Thanks for having
I'm
me,
glad you could take
Lisa.
the time to come,
Thank
and
you.
so I look forward to hearing about what you're doing next.
Thank you.
And if there's anything that we can do to help, just let us
Thank
know.
you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. I appreciate
and I know
that.
Channel 6 appreciates you. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you for having me.